Revelation 14 at verse 14 at verse 14 and going to verse 20. Revelation 14 from verse 14 down to verse 20. Notice what it says. Notice the imagery here in Revelation chapter 14. And remember the Feast of Tabernacles. Notice what it says. And I looked, and behold, a white cloud, and upon the cloud one sat like unto the Son of Man, having on his head a golden crown, and in his hand a sharp sickle. And another angel came out of the temple, crying with a loud voice to him that sat on the cloud, Thrust in thy sickle, and reap, for the time is come for thee to reap, for the harvest of the earth is ripe. And he that sat on the cloud thrust in his sickle on the earth, and the earth was reaped. And another angel came out of the temple which is in heaven, he also having a sharp sickle. And another angel came out from the altar which had power over fire, and cried with a loud cry to him that had the sharp sickle, saying, Thrust in thy sharp sickle, and gather the clusters of the vine of the earth, for her grapes are fully ripe. And the angel thrust in his sickle into the earth, and gathered the vine of the earth, and cast it into the winepress of the wrath of Yahweh. And the winepress was trodden without the city, and blood came out of the winepress, even unto the horses' bridles, by the space of 1,600 furlongs. There's your Feast of Tabernacles. The Feast of Harvest at the end of the year. That's the return of the Messiah. And as we talked about, you're going to see two reapings, that of the righteous and that of the wicked, the wheat and the tares, the sheep and the goats. And notice he talked about blood. He said outside the city. The Bible talked about him stamping them under his feet so that his garments are red. Let me just show you that. In Isaiah chapter 63. Isaiah 63. Notice what it says. We'll finish with this tonight. Isaiah 63. Notice this. Yes. It's Isaiah 63 from verse 1. From verse 1 down to verse 6. From 1 to 6. Notice what it says. It's talking about the same thing. This is the same thing. All of this is the same thing. Who is this that cometh from, and notice it says he comes from Edom. Didn't we say that the Edomites are now occupying our land? Yeah, right? Who is this that comes from Edom? The Edomites occupying our land. What's he doing coming from Edom? With garments from Bozrah. This that is glorious in his apparel, traveling in the greatness of his strength. I that speak in righteousness, mighty to save. Wherefore art thou, watch this, wherefore art thou red in thine apparel? Why is your clothes red, covered in red? And thy garments like him that trotteth the wine fat. I have trodden the winepress alone, and of the people there was none with me, for I will tread them in mine anger, and trample them in my fury, and their blood shall be sprinkled upon my garments, and I will stain all my raiment. See that? He's not joking. This is no joke. For the day of vengeance is in mine heart, and the year of my redeemed is come. And I looked, and there was none to help, and I wondered that there was none to uphold. Therefore mine own arm brought salvation unto me, and my fury it upheld me. And I will tread down the people in mine anger, and make them drunk in my fury, and I will bring down their strength to the earth. We're talking about the same thing. The return of the Messiah. You see, people are looking for some peaceful Messiah. He ain't coming back peacefully. And if you're not his people, you're going to have a problem. And his chosen people are going to be delivered. That's why our oppression has to be great. Because our deliverance is great. You understand? Our oppression is great because our deliverance is great. And don't worry, brothers and sisters, the oppression is not going to last much longer. And what we're going to see, we see the description of what he's planning on doing here. Okay? And so he established with Ezekiel the priesthood, And he tells Ezekiel, keep these feasts. And he's pointing out two particular feasts. And we know what those feasts mean. One of them is the Messiah's death and resurrection. The other one is his second return. Okay, and we know that that's coming. And we just saw it in Revelation and Isaiah. And it's in other places as well, like Zechariah chapter 14. We've read it there. And so you're going to see it's going to be violent and loud. That is why what we're in right now, and this is the final word of the night, what we're in right now is the time period that the Christians are right. We're in a dispensation of grace right now. But they don't even understand what that means. We're in a dispensation of grace. That means right now, as long as Father is causing Messiah to perform high priestly duties, it is a time for people to have opportunity to come to truth. That's what this is about. Just people that want to follow the spirit of the truth. That's what this is about. Spirit of truth, brothers and sisters. And people whose hearts are sincere. I don't care if you're a Muslim. I don't care where you're coming from. If you're a Catholic or you're whoever you might be. If you Chinese or Korean or South American or wherever you come from. Russian. Anglo-Saxon or Hebrew. This is the time for you to turn to the spirit of truth from the spirit of sin and unrighteousness. This is the time. Because when he brings it, it's too late. It'll be too late at that time. Let's have a word of prayer.